This is the farmhouse where I grew up, where my father grew up, where my grandfather grew up, where my great-grandfather grew up. The main house was built in 1860. We got electricity in 1943 with the Rural Electrification Act. And now what I am doing is I'm removing the majority of the 1960 updates and reverting the era back to somewhere between 1920 and 1950. I'm going to show you each room in the order that I did them years ago. While I am no more of a carpenter or a designer than any member of my family has ever been, I'm doing it to suit me and my tastes. Well, the first thing we had to do in the original cellar was get that leaking electric hot water heater out of there. It had exceeded its life by 50% and it was due to be replaced. So we looked at an instant-on gas. That's what we were shooting for. However, we had just got done plumbing the house with half-inch black iron for the cooktop, and the instant-ons require a 3/4 inch line. And I was not going to tear out all that half-inch black iron and replumb it with 3/4. So we looked at the fuel that we were using to heat the house, which was kerosene, and we chose a Toyotomi BS36UFF hybrid semi-instant-on kerosene water heater. Now it's a hybrid because it holds 5 gallons of water and it keeps that hot, and then when you start to draw water, the kerosene burner kicks in 148,000 BTU and it keeps the water hot as you use it. And then because our cellar floor is bedrock, it's a sedimentary rock, the original cellar was chipped down about a foot to give us about 5.5 feet of height. As long as you walk between the beams, you can do it. But the floor, because it's sedimentary rock, there are dips and gouges and cracks, and we started filling them with either cement or self-leveling cement. For the big areas, you can see that white substance on the floor. We used a bonder to allow the self-leveling cement to bond to the stone. And here you can see we're starting the first pour. And basically you mix it up, pour it on, and let it find its own level. And then mix up another bucket. And here you can see our 1860 gravity drain. And because we're raising the floor, we need a way for the water to get to that drain. So we've laid out strips of wood and held them in place with rocks. And then when you pour the self-leveling floor, it creates a channel around the perimeter. And here is another view of that pour. And then for our slop sink in the pantry, it used to be called the pantry, I guess now it's more of a washroom. I got plans off the internet and I built a clay trap. Only this one is not a tiny one, this is a 5-gallon one. So anything that goes down that slop sink goes into the sediment trap and then out the gravity drain. I didn't want any of that going into our septic. And here you can see the in and the out of the sediment trap. From the ceiling coming down, that is the drain from the slop sink, and behind it is the exit drain going out to the gravity drain, and that little 1-inch pipe, that is the washer overflow coming out of the overflow pan, if it ever does overflow. And if you notice, there are unions, quick disconnects, so that you can unscrew those, take your sediment trap out, take the top off, dump out the sediment, and put it all back together again. And here is another view of our sediment trap, our clay trap, and it also shows our pressure tank. And here is how the sediment trap is drained into the 1860 gravity drain using 1.5 PVC and some hangers from the ceiling. And here is a repurposed water softener tank that is, we're using it as a pre-filter, the rust that's in our well before it gets into the house. It used to have sand. Now it's got a plastic pellet that actually seems to work better than the sand. You have to backwash it every 6 months. And instead of running a hose every 6 months, I put a Y fitting so that any backwash from the sand filter now goes into the gravity drain. Now here's a shot of the stairs that were put in 43, because the original cellar, you could not access it from the house. You had to go out back and go down in. So about 1943 is when the stairs were put in, and you can see the rubber treads are just about shot. So we installed a set of new rubber treads. And this image shows the finished product. They are diamond grip rubber stair treads. They come in packs of 6, and we bought them from rubbercal, rubbercal.com. And here's a view of the stair treads from the top of the stairs looking downward. And then we painted the stairs that gray house mud color and installed a 1/2-inch black iron railing and spray painted that Rust-Oleum light machine gray. The stairs never had a railing, so with a little creative plumbing, we put one in. And these were the first few updates that we did to the original cellar.